So originally this is just supposed to be a Dave talk, but I'm inviting Shane in to play with us so that we can talk Holzer Files and take your questions. Since they just did the marathon and many of you were coming up to my table asking questions, it's easier if we just tackle you all at once. And then it's easier to keep you all together when we put the collection plate around too. How sad that they're laughing and think I'm joking. I knew I should have worn those really short cutoff shorts today.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Why is that so funny, sir?
Get a wig, you look like...
Did you not grow up in the 80s? You don't even need that. The 80s, that's all we wore jean shorts that came to here, and then the white socks with the green stripes, right?
And the half shirt.
And my New Balance sneakers. I know it's hard to believe, but I once had a full head of hair. I still do. It's just in my ears and nose now. There's a couple chairs over here too, so if you want to... Well, here, yeah, you can leave that in here. We'll just... I'll grab this and pull it to the other side of the room. Of course, sitting there with your back to the sun...
I'll get a 10.
Okay. Good for you. Jeez, you guys still got like 11 minutes. I'll tell you what, I'll be willing to kick in an extra 11 minutes to talk, but I'll reserve Holzer Files questions till Shane's here, and it won't be part of the official talk yet. Is that all right?
Yes.
Because he's going to record for us. But if you have questions about my work on Ghost Adventures or anything else, I'll be happy to answer those for you. Ghost to Devil's Perch, Ghost Adventures. Do you guys know which fucking room you're in right now, or not? I really get the feel were you waiting for Zaphis later? Is that what you think is happening? No questions. Okay. Yes, sir.
So when you finished Devil's Perch, I guess it was cool going back. Now I know because of the network stuff you never went back, but do you ever keep in touch?
Oh yeah, I keep in touch all the time with some of the different families have reached out. You know, our great historian, Fisk, he's great, so we keep in touch with him. But a lot of the really bad negative stuff tapered way down, so that's good. They had a couple of weird incidents happen, and we're not... You got to remember, there was like almost 3 years between Ghost of Morgan City and Ghosts of Devil's Perch. So they have never officially canceled us. So once they've got their financial situation back in order, maybe we'll get to go back and help the people of Butte. Yeah. I mean, truthfully, I wish I could just afford to go to Butte and just live there and help them for a while anyway, but that's not the way it works, unfortunately. Yeah, no, not in the Cabbage Patch. Actually, it's a really cool place now. I think Richard Sims, the ghost that passed away there, I think we calmed that down.
I'm just showing up for a second. I'm supportive, you know.
I appreciate it.
Isn't he pretty?
I'm still not sleeping with you. Sorry, man. I don't know why you call it making love. It's always so angry.
Hey, Dave.
Yes.
Were there any cases you didn't get to on the Holzer Files?
I got to answer Holzer Files questions when Shane gets here, but yes, there's plenty. Here's the short and long answer all in one. We could have gone, they figured with the cases that were available to us, we could have gone 15 seasons without repeating a case. Wow. So we probably could have gone about 25 seasons if we would have done like we did, where each season we included a couple cases Dr. Holzer didn't get to but wanted to. So we could have stretched that out considerably. Which may be part of the program I might work on in the future. We don't know. We don't know. We can't call it Holzer Files, but we'll... Yes?
What's the favorite con you've been to so far?
My favorite conference? Obviously, the Gettysburg Battlefield. Yeah. I don't know. I love so many of the different ones. You know, I used to run the biggest ones for a long time. I mean, the biggest, it was like 250 people, but we were like at the Stanley Hotel with the Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventures. And then we'd have Chip Coffey and Chris Fleming and Patrick Burns. And, you know, we'd have this whole weekend with 250 of our closest friends staying with us at the Stanley Hotel and investigating. And then we did the Queen Mary, we did Waverly Hills, we did Eastern State Penitentiary, Rolling Hills. So we kept cycling through a lot of those great sites, and it was awesome to get to do those. So those were my original events. I really have a fondness for those. It just got to be kind of a pain in the ass because as the celebrities got more celebrity, the prices went through the roof to try to get them there. So we just couldn't make it work, unfortunately. But I love doing the Michigan Paracons, one of my favorites. The one in Utah I'm going to be at in September is amazing. It's Phenomicon, and they're going to have the Skinwalker Ranch guys there, the Blind Frog Ranch guys there. I'll be there.
It comes to you, Dave.
What?
I told everyone to come in here.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Maybe we could just knock out this wall. There's another chair here, sir, if you want to.
Yeah, I don't want to
That's a good plan. Well, here, I'll tell you what. I'll go put one over there for you.
Great, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah. We don't want you to block her view. Let me just put the chair right here.
Right in front of the air conditioning. That would have
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, no, I need to, at some points when Shane talks, I'm going to be going over here and,
I get that pleasure.
yeah. Yes.
What was your most terrifying place?
Personally,
Not as a group, just you personally.
still to be one of the most terrifying experiences I had nothing to do with any of the locations I was at. It was when I was a kid. I lived in Medina, Illinois, very white bread area, and I was walking to my friend Phil Spizzeri's, and it was the 70s, so it was like 78, 79, when most of you were born, and I was walking past the past houses, you know, and they didn't have a million cable channels at that time. Nobody had their cell phones or tablets, so people used to look out their windows and watch neighbors, right? And as I was walking by a house, I saw through the picture window there was just a guy inside the picture window standing there looking like this. And that was no big deal, because that's what you're used to seeing in our town. And I took a few more steps and I turned back around, and now he was outside and he was in front of the row of hedges. So somehow he went from inside the house, past the sidewalk, and in front of the row of hedges within 2 or 3 steps from me. And then your brain's trying to make logical sense of, what did I just see? What just occurred? And, come on in, Nina. I'll move the table and give you a little room. And I took another turn back, and now he was in the middle of the yard just standing there. And there was nothing inherently terrifying about it, but your brain realizes this is not normal. This isn't, you know, and then I was taking a few more steps, and I'm just trying to circulate through my head what I'm watching and what's going on. And I pivot one more time, and he's about as close to me as this guy. And then I just took off like a bat out of hell down the street. Yeah. So that was, and I'm, as an adult, when I go, I think it turned it off. As an adult, when I go by there, I still take the long way instead of going by. My dad thinks it's hilarious to drive me right up to the house sometimes. Because, you know, you tell your dad what unnerves you, and is that work?
1, 2, 3.
Shaq, could you hold your boob the whole time and do that for me?
Sure.
Is that okay, or do you want to clip somewhere else, like on his beard?
That's good.
Okay.
You never tried to figure out who it was?
No. Oh, yes, I did, actually. I found out about a month or two later, in passing, because I never even talked about it. It was just so weird. About a month or two later, I was walking around with my buddy Danny and Dean, and they said, "Oh, did you hear about Mr. Miller? He passed away at Christmas time. He had a massive heart attack in front of the Christmas tree," which was right in their picture window. And I was like, "What?" And then and that's when I told them my story. So that was, but to me, that like I said, I don't know. It wasn't like they were all glitchy and he was moving towards me, which would be freaky. I have no excuse for why that was so frightening, but it is. Thank you. You're a good friend. So, let us begin. Oh, I'm going to die in here, dude. I don't know how you managed an hour in there.
It was rough.
Yeah, and we got an air conditioner and it's still hot. All right, any quick last questions that have nothing to do with the Holzer Files? Nothing? All right, fine. We'll just go to the Holzer Files. Now that Shane's here, I guess we can begin.
Sorry.
No, you're still 3 minutes early. I was just killing time. Okay. Well, thank you guys for very much for coming out and spending a little time with us. This was originally just supposed to be me rambling with you, but with the marathon that just took place and all of the episodes of the Holzer Files being replayed, a lot of people were stopping by the table asking questions, and I said, let's just pool our resources and we'll do a nice little Holzer Files in memoriam with you guys today. So for those of you that still don't know, we have been canceled. There are no more episodes coming. It was canceled 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, sadly. We just, as a matter of fact, I think we just celebrated like 3 days ago was the anniversary of us making the big announcement that Holzer Files would begin in October. So we had a great two years, 2 seasons, 23 or 26, how many was, 23 episodes, right?
20, yeah.
Yeah, 10 in the first and 13 in the second. And it was a lot of fun. You know, we got a great opportunity to step into a historic figure's files and get to see both the audio, video, and photographs that they collected throughout his entire career as a researcher. And then we get to go back in and see if these stories are still going. And that was pretty exciting. I mean, when they reached out to you, did they let you know up front what this program was about or no?
No, they were very tight-lipped about it, and they said, well, it's basically reopening the case files of a famous parapsychologist. And because I knew Alexandra years prior, I was like, can I just ask and you say yes or no? And I said, is it Hans Holzer? And she was like, how in the fuck did you know that? And yeah, from there, it just took off.
Yeah.
And our first meeting, so mine and Dave's first meeting was through Skype. And I knew of Dave, but I didn't know him personally. And it was very intimidating, not because of, like I'm afraid of him or anything, but we were sitting, maybe a little bit, we were sitting there and was it wintertime? It was wintertime.
Yeah, it was January.
Yeah.
And they'd asked me, Dave, we want to do this, they call it a chemistry test.
See how we do.
Cindy was already hired, I was hired, and we were struggling to find a Shane. And luckily, Shane applied, so it worked out really great. But she goes, I need you to get some natural sunlight. So can you get in where there are windows? I'm like, I live in Minnesota. There's no such thing as natural sunlight. But I have a 3-season porch. So I'm like, okay, well, we call it 3 seasons for a good reason. Because during the winter, you don't use that porch. But it had great light. So I went out there, sat there, and it literally was, I think it was like 20 degrees that day. And with the wind chill was like 10 below. And we all start up and she goes, okay, Dave Schrader, this is Shane Pitman. Shane Pitman, this is Dave. Shane, how you doing today?
I was like, man, it is cold as shit here. It's like 45 degrees.
And I look at him, and first of all, he didn't say 45. He's like, it's like 60 degrees, and I'm freezing. My nipples are so hard I could cut glass.
I did not say that.
And then I literally looked at him on the screen, and I go, fuck you. And he just gets this deer in the headlights look, and Renee, our producer, she stops, and I go, it is 20 degrees on my porch, -10 outside, and I flip the camera around to show the thermometers like broken and all the mercury's dripping out of the bottom. And Shane's like, what the hell's wrong with you people living in a state like that?
But I was shocked because we were on a Skype call with producers, and this guy was basically saying I was a pansy, and I was,
No, not basically. I was calling you a pansy. So
you used some other words that we will not mention.
Yeah, so that was our first little meeting, and they loved it. They were like, that's kind of the brotherly dynamic we're looking for. And so we had a great time, getting a chance to get to know one another. And then it was a fast-moving process, too.
Yeah.
Cindy and I had already been signed for about 5-6 months, and they were trying to find that tech person. And then when Shane got hired in January, I think we started filming in February, right? February or March?
The end of January, I think.
Oh, was it the end of January?
I think it was within 2 or 3 weeks we were filming.
Yeah, we were out in the field together working, and we just had such a cool time. We get together in there, and I'll tell you, the person that you guys all hashtag poor Shane, the person that really was poor in that whole deal was Cindy, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Because Shane and I hit it off like brothers immediately, and we got to hang out together, and we got to go to movies and dinner, and we'd go thrifting like a gay old couple, and it was really, we had a good time. We could, well, yeah. Yeah, they were always like, oh, did you and Shane go mantiquing again today? Maybe.
Yeah.
But Cindy was always kept away from us because they were afraid these two idiots would blab something about the case, so that she wasn't allowed to be around us. So the only time we got to hang out with Cindy was between episodes if we were traveling together. And maybe we had a night off so we could, go do something before we knew what the next case was going to be. So Cindy was really isolated, although she's a smart one. During all of that, she was taking college classes and yoga.
Hot yoga.
And teaching yoga and teaching psychic classes, and Dumb and Dumber are like at a thrift store. Hey, Star Wars toys! Right? And we have nothing to show for it. She's a doctor now and does brain surgery. So
does this shirt smell like mothballs, or do you think it's okay to wear?
So that was kind of our experience doing it. But we always felt bad for Cindy because we're very close with her and we love her. She's like a sister, but we just didn't get to be with her and hang out with her as much as we would have liked. And that same thing happened. It was even worse on Ghost to Devil's Perch because they rolled me over.
Talk about that.
No, you'll like what I'm going to say. They rolled us over to Ghost to Devil's Perch, and Cindy and I got to do a season, and they brought KD Stafford from Ghost of Morgan City, who was the tech. And he comes over, and they're like, yeah, we're going to have KD as a part of this. We want you two to join the team. We're like, that'd be fantastic. And I'm like, oh, so there's no room for Shane? And they're like, well, we already have a hillbilly in the staff now. So, and I was like, God, I got to tell Shane. I don't know what to tell him. Shit, we got hired and you didn't do another show. I felt really bad. But when we went out to film, I love Katie. He's a great guy. He's an American hero, man. He was in the military. He was stationed in a couple of the sandboxes in bad times and bad places, and he deals with PTSD. He's very open about all of this and his struggles, and he has done and seen a lot. And but he keeps to himself. So he was always in the basement of our headquarters working on technology. Cindy was always kept separate. So for that series, I was missing Shane. I was trying to get him to come visit me in Butte and just hang out. But he was too busy filming a Netflix show.
I was like, where in butt are you in Montana? I'm a Southern boy. Pronunciation was really bad. Influenced my comprehension. I was like, it spelled butt, okay?
Yeah.
Not Butte.
Which is why there's ghosts of Shepherdstown, ghosts of Morgan City, and ghosts of Devil's Perch. Because the network refused to put out a show that said ghosts of butt. Butte, Montana is where we were at. But they were so worried that they were going to put that out. But I really missed Shane on that. I loved working with Katie and Cindy again, but that sucked. But the good news on that was, literally as I'm sweating, oh man, because Cindy and I really felt bad that we couldn't bring Shane along. And the producers, he goes, yeah, I'm really kind of bummed. I goes, I had this new show, and I was going to ask you, Dave, to be the center guy at our console. He was going to be our, the Aaron Sagers on 28 Days Haunted was supposed to be my role. And he goes, and I was about to put out the call to you, and then the network said, hey, we want to go with another season, and we want to use Dave and Cindy. And he goes, so I was glad to get you on Ghost of Devil's Perch, but I really was bummed. I have this new project. And I go, what is it? He goes, it's called 28 Days Haunted, and we're following in Ed and Lorraine Warren's kind of theories. And he goes, and I'm really struggling right now. I need a host, and I need another team of 3. And I said, well, you said you like Shane, and you really wish you could have been a part of this, but they wanted KD. I said, Shane has a team of 3. It's Josh and Shane and Ray. And I put them in touch, and he got hired onto that show. Well, 2 of them did. And then my friend Amy, who's a medium that I'd met, I think, at one of these events, she got put into the team with him. And then I said, well, why don't you talk to Aaron Sagers? He's a great, host. So they brought Aaron on. So you get to see me pop up as like producer credits on a couple of the episodes for having gotten people involved in the show. But it was nice that we were able to, still both be working at the same time.
Yeah, it was cool.
So, questions about Holzer Files. What would you like to know? Yes, sir.
How come they always put you in the basement?
Yeah, Dave. Let's go ahead and discuss this in detail. I really would like to know.
All right. My stock answer is, we were in homes that were built in the 16 and 1700s when people were hobbit size. And when you go in the basements, the ceilings are about here, and when you go in the attics, the ceilings are about here. And I'm a strapping, well put together, blobby mess. And trying to walk up there, they do want you to have aesthetically pleasing views. And truthfully, would you rather see a man who can just walk down the middle of it and be unencumbered, or do you want to see Davey Moto trying to make his way through the hall?
It is not.
Shane, I hear something. Come upstairs.
It is not my problem that they hired a life-size Shrek. Okay, that is not my.
Shut up, donkey! So, yeah, that was it. But the other thing to consider, and we've always played the game and played as a matter of fact, I'm the one that created the poor Shane hashtag on Twitter during the
Thanks a lot
the
for
deal.
that.
You're welcome. You've made a lot of money on T-shirts that say poor Shane. So hashtag broke Dave, hashtag poor Shane. But he got a chance to get into a lot of the cool places I literally just couldn't get into. But in almost every episode, there were scenes of me talking to Cindy, and she goes, well, I'm going to go into the basement, or I'm going to go into the attic. And then me saying, I'm going to go down in the basement, I'm going to go in the attic. The only reason you see the scenes when I say, Shane, why don't you go there, is because when they get done taking hundreds of hours of footage, and they have to cut it down to 42 minutes, they go to the points that had the most activity or had a story to it. And Shane just happened to have a lot of energy, chaotic energy around him when he would go in these places. So it kind of drew people into that, and it made him connect, I think, great with you guys, right? It gave you guys a chance to do that. But we all ended up spending time in those same places. They just showed Shane being bullied by me. And that's creative editing.
It's like, do we show the good-looking guy or the Shrek guy? I mean,
and obviously they chose wisely. So, but again, let's just address one thing finally. Hashtag poor Shane. In 23 episodes, Shane scratched his elbow on one. And when he scratched his elbow, it's in the episode when he's in the basement and something scares him and he jumps out of the room and then tries to jump because it was like platforms of concrete and mud.
Let's change the subject.
And he tries to jump. He tries to jump from the one piece to the other, and it's slippery, so he slips. One of my favorite pieces I wish we could get. He slips and hits his back like a turtle, and all you hear is, oh. And then he reaches over and grabs his elbow, and it's gushing blood. Oh. And he's like, oh, and we're in tears watching it in production. Yeah.
Not concerned.
No. Well, no, we didn't know at that point. So then Shane comes upstairs, and we have the EMT come in. And this is my favorite part of the story. So tell us about the EMT visit, would you?
No, we'll skip this.
No, that's a good story. Tell them about that.
All right, so I get down there, and they bring a medic out as a very dramatic thing. They got the cameras rolling. They're like, oh man, this is good TV, right? So they're doing all this stuff. They clean up the wound that I had.
Wound?
They cleaned it up, and it was like a little dot of a scratch. It was barely anything. And so this medic, which I hope I never see him face to face again because he did me dirty, he takes out a Band-Aid, right? He takes it out. He's like, okay, I'm going to get you set up and fixed. He puts it on, and it's a freaking Hello Kitty Band-Aid. No lie.
And that was it. We lost it. We're all laughing.
I'm like, look, I'm supposed to look kind of macho here. What the hell are you doing? So our
We're in
producers...
touch with your feminine side.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is fine, but I mean, not for TV. Like, I want to look kind of tough, you know, which I didn't on the show. But anyway, producers are like, take the damn Band-Aid off.
After all that blood, they had to have some. So they made him re-wrap it and clean it away from camera. So you see him cleaning it, but you never see the size of the wound, and then they wrap. So like for the rest of the episode, he's all in a sling and his arms have been. He's got the headband on with the blood spot.
Yeah, but the medic thought I was just fine because it was all I needed was a Hello Kitty Band-Aid.
Meanwhile, in our very first episode we filmed together, I get knocked to the ground like a sack of potatoes on the.
Into who?
Into you.
Shane.
Yeah. But there's nothing. There's no cushion. It's all bone. I hit you. I hurt my shoulder and fell down. It was horrible. Then I get knocked backwards into a bathroom and split my spine open on a toilet paper thing on the wall, and I'm sprawled out in the john. Although, if you watch that episode, the first one to spring into action is Shane, because they're in the room. I'm at the top of the stairs. We keep hearing stuff.
I wasn't laughing at him with
Not at that point. When they hear me, and I go backwards in the bathroom because something came up the stairs, I go, boom, crash! Shane springs into action, and then Cindy kind of meanders after him, and then the camera guys, and I'm sprawled out in the bathroom, and I'm like, and then he starts giggling. Until I stood up, and my shirt's torn, and I've got blood pouring out of my back, and I've got a gash this big and this wide. And they're like, this is going to be great TV. Let's get you outside. Take your shirt off. I'm like, no. There's nothing great about this story at all. And they're like, we have to bandage it up. And I'm like, no, I'll bleed through the shirt. I'm fine. It's a black shirt. Nobody's going to notice. And they're like, no, we really got to clean it up. So I'm out there, like Shane's standing by my side, almost holding my hand as I'm like unbuttoning my shirt and pulling it down so he can get to my. Oh, it was horrible. And they're like, "Don't worry, we're just gonna zoom in on the wound, not the flab hanging over your belt loop, sir." So they did that. They cleaned me all up, and then the funny thing was, we had not shot the walk-in. You know that scene where you always see the three of us standing in front of the house and then we go walking up the stairs and walk in? We hadn't filmed that yet because we had got a late start, so they were going to film that at the end of the night. So now you realize I've got this huge tear in my shirt, so we've got to go film the beginning of the episode after the episode has been filmed. So they take black tape, gaffer's tape, and tape it on the inside, but my back is hurt and I'm bleeding. So when we go first walking up there, it's like... And then when the door opens and we're inside, I'm all like, yeah, let's go. We're going to do this. Yeah. But the whole walk up, I'm Fred Munster, or Herman Munster, making my way up. So, and then I got bit in the arm on the Constellation? Yeah, on the USS Constellation. So poor Shane got a scratch on his elbow once, and a ghost touched his shoulder. Poor Shane. Oh. Poor Shane. Although I told him he wasted a great opportunity because he should have gone into business selling coffee. Hashtag POUR Shane. Poor Shane Coffee. Don't you got? You would have bought that, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
the day is still young.
Yeah, it is.
You touched in the closet?
Do what?
Yeah. Yeah. She's talking about on the show.
Man, little bit of PTSD there.
Yeah.
So which one? The nap house?
Yeah. When
Where with the hand?
Yes, you're on the wall and the endless
Yeah.
wall.
So here's a cool story about that. So this was like a few episodes in, and I was still trying to be like the stoic Shane, right? I didn't want to be skittish, my normal self, and run out of places, right? I wanted to look a little bit tougher than what I actually am. And Dave was like, look, they hired you for you, right? Quit trying to be somebody you're not. You're not tough. You're a little bitch. And
no, hey, in my defense, I called him a big bitch. So
okay.
yeah.
You're a big bitch. You got this. And he's like, be yourself, right? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna open myself up. Whatever happens. I'm just gonna flow with it, right? So they decided to put me in this really small ass closet that was terrifying up there.
I thought you'd be used to that.
Stop it right now.
That was our third episode, so you were good. Yeah.
So I get in there and I'm in there for a while, and then all of a sudden I feel like something grabbed my neck, and that's when you see me react. But here's the cool part about the thermal handprint or whatever. The owner or the society, the historical society, nailed all the windows shut, first off. We were on the second story, so everybody's like, oh, that's got to be somebody doing that. The handprint was on the outside of the window, second story, and the windowsill was nailed shut. There was no way that anybody could have climbed up there, no way that could have been there. And I wasn't even trying to capture anything on the window whenever I freaked out like a big bitch. I I moved the thermal camera, and it just happened as I was moving by, it caught the handprint. So that was a really awesome capture that we had, but it was completely by accident.
So everybody always asks, is there acting on the TV shows? So this is what I will tell you and be 100% honest. Have any of you seen the episodes of Ghost Adventures where I was a guest host, ghost hunter, right? So you'll notice I was trying to be Shane at that point. I was trying to be stoic and tough and be, not be affected by what's going on. So I know there are a lot of you that watch other TV shows and you don't like the dramatics and the overactions towards things. But if you go watch any of the episodes I'm in, you'll notice you need that. Because when a guy goes, "Did you hear that?" It doesn't play well on TV. That's why I wasn't on Ghost Adventures as a full-time investigator. I was too cool for school. And what they literally told me is, I'm not asking you to fake a thing, Dave. I'm not asking you to pretend that you're having an experience, but I need you to project it. So when you hear something, let the TV know that you're hearing something. What was that, right? So we're doing that, and honestly, if you go watch a lot of the YouTube shows, which are all cool stoic ghost hunters that want their own show and they wonder why they never get picked up, it's because they may have some really great points, but it's not as dynamic to watch. And everybody claims they want real shows with real evidence and seeing the full setup. And that's complete and utter bullshit. You people don't have the attention span of a gnat. If you got to sit there and watch us setting shit up and then going through the 18 hours of film, you would be bored out of your mind. And if everybody's just walking around going, "Yeah, did you hear that? Yeah, we should go in the basement." Okay. You'd be like, are these guys even involved? Do they like this show? Are they are they part of the paranormal world? So the reactions are amped a little bit, not huge, but instead of just kind of turning and saying, "Did you hear that?" It's more the, "Whoa, did you hear that, Shane?" Because you guys got to know we're actually hearing something. We're having a moment. And I know it sounds crazy, but like I said, go watch a show like that. We're not faking what we heard. We heard it. We're just upping the way we responded to it a little bit more. And that's what I told Shane, because he was like, "Dave, I don't want to look like some kind of, chicken all the time." And I said, "Listen, man, Aaron Goodwin has been cashing checks for 20 seasons being that guy because people love him." I said, "Cindy Kaza is the voice of the dead. Alexandra is the voice of her father. Gabe is the voice of the files. I am just walking in Holzer's footsteps being the interviewer. You're the connection to the audience. You're the one that's going to relate with the audience the most, and people are going to love you." And they do. They love Shane on the show, and they love he takes a little bit of heat. People are always, oh, you should get rid of him and put me on the show because I wouldn't go running out scared. And that's why you're not on the show, because we want Chicken Little running up the stairs screaming at me.
It was going good. But yeah, I've had people say, "Oh, my 12-year-old daughter could stay in there longer." It's like, probably, but like, I'm a skittish person by nature. It's just me. I can't help being me. But yeah.
It was so great when we did the Morris Jumel Mansion in New York. Great story. For those of you that maybe didn't see the episode, it's one of the coolest ghost stories. The Morris Jumel Mansion is in New York, where you're amongst all these dirty buildings and old buildings and everything. There's just this gorgeous plot of land with this old mansion on it. And there's bushes and gardens and nice walkways. It's just a really great little setting, right? And there's all these crazy stories that go on there, but what happened was, I think it was like the late 60s, maybe the early 70s, 71, something like that. A group of school kids went there for a field trip. You guys remember field trips? So they went there with their teachers for a field trip. They got there early and they're all playing around in the yard and having fun. And a woman in a period gown comes out on the little walkway and she goes, "Shh." And teachers are like, "Sorry, we'll keep them quiet." And she goes back in the house. And a few minutes later, the docent shows up to let them in. And the teachers and adults and parents were like, "Hey, we're really sorry. The kids were acting up. I think we irritated your employee." And she goes, "What employee?" And they said, "I'm guessing it's your tour guide in the period gown." And she goes, "I'm the tour guide." And they're like, "A woman just came out and shushed us." And it was like a group of like 20 or 30 people. And she's like, "There's nobody here." And they opened up the door and they went in, and there's a big portrait of Sarah Jumel. And that's who they all saw come out on the veranda and hush them. So that got the attention. Now, this was run by the Daughters of the Pioneer, is it? Is that what it is? Daughters of the American Revolution? Yeah. So they don't like to buy into the paranormal stuff. They won't let you usually get to the historic sites to talk about paranormal. But they were fully open about this story and allowed Dr. Hans Holzer to come in and do an investigation. And they were very skeptical of what we were going to find, because at the time we were filming that episode, Hamilton was exploding on Broadway, and Aaron Burr stayed in this house, and George Washington stayed in this house, and they thought for sure we were going to try to find out about the Burr and Hamilton, killing and all that stuff, and we didn't. We found what story was there, but there's this great scene. I'm in the middle, and I would always try to put myself away. So Cindy's on the upstairs over on this side, Shane's in the downstairs over on that side, so I'm in the middle, and I'm trying to be over on this side of the house, and I'm communicating with my meter, and I think I'm talking to a little kid. We're having this great back and forth, and then I don't know what's going on upstairs or downstairs, but Cindy starts going, Dave, you should come up here. And I'm like, all right, hold on, because I'm having my own moment, right? I want to be on TV too. And Shane's like, Dave, you should come down here. And I'm like, all right, just hold on.
I don't
Dave. And literally, the camera guy, our director, goes, Jesus Christ, are you a dad everywhere you go? And I'm like, apparently. And I go, all right. And I go walking. Now, Cindy stayed in her spot. And as I start walking, the Flash comes tearing up the stairs. And he's like, Dave, I saw there was a shot, and I'm like, wow, and he's like, woo, and I'm like, woo, and I ran up the stairs. And I turned to him.
This is over dramatized.
A little bit.
No, it's not.
Yeah, right. So I turned to him and I go, we are here to investigate the paranormal. We don't run away from these things. We're here to explore these things. So I need you to get back downstairs and do your job. And Shane just looks at me, and it's the most beautiful, heartbreaking moment, and his shoulders kind of stoop, and he turns and he starts walking down the stairs and he goes, I don't even have my goddamn flashlight. And he just goes down, and I'm like biting my tongue to not laugh. And my director goes, holy shit, that was intense. And I go, well, what are we going to do? Am I going to let him run upstairs every time something scares him? He goes, no, that's going to be great TV, but people are going to fucking hate you. And I'm like, I think people at home are going to hate me. Investigators are going to be like, yeah, get your ass back down in the basement. And to his credit, he went down by himself without his goddamn flashlight because he'd left it on the bench. So it's funny that he's afraid to go back down there with his flashlight, but yet he could run up the stairs by himself without a flashlight in pitch black.
Hey, it was muscle memory. I knew how to get down. I know how to get back up the stairs.
Right, but had you not had that lesson, you wouldn't have had one of the more impactful moments of was that season 1?
Yeah, it was the season finale, episode 10, I believe it is, on season 1. I was at the Barnstable house. Y'all remember that episode? So I went down to the basement, of course, and I had this weird contraption on my head. It was called spectacles, which it recorded in...
I just wanted him to wear it so I could say spectacles to him. Nice spectacles.
Yeah. So it recorded in 4K. It was hands-free device. You had amplified headphones, so you can hear like live EVPs in real time. And I was there communicating with who I thought was Lucy, which was a little girl that drowned in the well down there. And I was down there for a while asking questions, and then I see a shadow dart around the corner and come towards me, and I was like, nope. And I get up and I ran out. My recorder's still on the steps. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, I gotta get back down here because.
But he ran up and didn't yell for Dave.
Yeah,
I was so proud of him for that.
So they were investigating and all of that stuff, and I didn't want to bug them. So I was like, okay, I got to get back down there, get my recorder so I can review it later. So I go back down there and I end up finishing the investigation or whatever. And I go home later on that night, go to the hotel later on that night, and I'm reviewing audio because it's like an endless job. As soon as we're done investigating, we got to start on all the review and stuff. And I'm glad I went back down there because there was an EVP that we captured on the recorder that was a little girl. And it says, does no one hear me? And it was very impactful for me because it's like, how many times do we ask a lot of questions during investigations? And it's like, what year is it? How did you die? How long have you been here? Do you like it here? We always ask these questions, which questions are good, but we don't listen enough. And that taught me that sometimes we need to shut up a little bit and listen more than we speak, especially if we're wanting to try to help and we're wanting to try to get the answers to questions and stuff. So it was a very impactful thing for me, and it all stemmed from Grandpa Dave over here telling me.
It's pop to you.
Pop, okay. Telling me, hey, get your ass back down there, finish the job, and work. So it was an uncomfortable moment, but he taught me a lot, and I'm glad that I got that experience because of it.
We have that on film, right? I taught him a lot.
Well, I'm editing this anyway. So.
Oh, damn it! And they're going to edit it out to just hearing me just say, I taught him a lot, right? So it's going to look like he taught me.
It's gonna
Great.
be like,
Damn it!
Shane's a big bitch, but everybody loves him. That's how it's going to play out.
But it's true, you big bitch. Yeah, we had great times doing the show and getting a chance to go in and investigate. We had a lot of fun on screen and off screen, and Shane and I would go to a lot of cemeteries, and we would, like when we were in New York, we went and found Jimmy Cagney. I'm a big Cagney fan, so we went and found Cagney's, and then found out that Babe Ruth was in the same cemetery.
That was cool.
Remember the weird part about that? So we're driving around, we can't find Babe Ruth's spot, and we're driving around, I'm like looking at the picture, I'm like, it's like a huge memorial. How are we missing it? And we pull up and I go, oh, look, Shane, and there's this huge monument, and it says Schrader. And I go, let me get a picture, and I take a picture, and all of a sudden I realize right behind it is Babe Ruth's monument. So that was kind of neat.
There were baseballs and like baseball bats and all that stuff.
Gloves, yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very cool.
And then we went to
Where else in New Jersey did we go?
I was trying to think of the one place we went, Elliot Ness's grave. Yeah, we got to see a president's grave there too, I think, one of them. So yeah, we got a chance to go out and kind of do these fun things and go see all these different creepy places. And there was one time we were trying to find a place to eat, and it was, every place was closed. We were in a very sketchy part of town, very sketchy part.
Mildly.
Yeah,
okay.
in New York, and we couldn't find a place to eat, and we're looking on our GPS, and the place is called
The Young and Juicy Cafe.
So we're like, we're going to the Young and Juicy Cafe. So we show up, and it's a juice bar, but it was closed. And we're like, son of a bitch, we're starving. And then I happen to look, and I see, and I go, Shane, let's make a fun little video. He goes, okay. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, here we are, we're looking for a place to eat. And I'm doing the video, I'm like, oh, the Young and Juicy Cafe is shut down. What a bummer. And all of a sudden I hear, hey, Dave! And I turn around, and he's standing there by a white panel van where the back door's open. He goes, this guy said he's got candy and puppies. Come on over.
That video is still online.
Yeah, that video's out there. So you got to have fun when you're doing the ghost hunt stuff.
Yeah.
And there were times we'd be joking around. We'd get cool evidence, or something would like the ghost would get pissed that we were screwing around, and they'd bang on something and get us back into the oh shit moment, right? And we had one when we were doing the, which is still one of my all-time favorite episodes, when we were doing the Ocean-Born Mary story. And that story had so many twisting plot holes, and it was just so cool to work on that. And Shane and I shared a really cool experience. Cindy was getting nothing at one point, and she's like, I'm not getting anything. And we're like, are you crazy? There's something literally moving around us so quick you could feel a breeze. And we're both like, our heads on a swivel. We're like, do you feel that? Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, you could hear it like
conversations.
And just absolutely bonkers. And we're doing it, and she's like, are you guys joking around with me right now? And I think it really bothered her that as the medium, she was not picking it up. And the two idiot insensitives were totally picking up on what was going on in that moment. So that was, but it was a really educational moment for us as well, because even for that 5-10 minutes that we were part of that, I don't know how Cindy does it, because that was so overwhelming and weird to just be bombarded by all this energy all at once.
You don't know what to do in those moments. It was crazy. Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Is there a file you were looking forward to doing that you didn't get a chance to?
It's a good question.
Yeah, there was tons of files, you know.
Yeah.
Amityville was one of his cases, and I really do believe that the haunting left with the DeFeo, or with the Lutz family, because I believe it was George Lutz that had called in a lot of the stuff unknowingly, or maybe knowingly. So we would have loved to have had an opportunity to do that one. Everybody would love an opportunity to do Amityville. But yeah, there were a lot of the European cases. We were hoping for season 3. We were supposed supposed to go overseas and hit some of the places in Ireland and England that Hans Holzer loved so much, because he really loved the history, and so did we. So that kind of bummed us out. But there was enough files, they told us, that they could actually get in touch with people, that we could have gone about 15 seasons of about 10 to 12 episodes without repeating a case.
Yeah.
And then
We had a lot of plans.
Yeah.
A lot of plans.
And then there were episodes in each season that we did where Hans Holzer wanted to go but didn't get there. So we could have extended probably by another 5 seasons, just pulling out episodes and putting them into the next season, and putting in stuff that he wanted to that he didn't. And it was great because they loved the way that we treated the locations. So locations that in the first season said, nope, no interest, we don't want you here. They watched the first season of Holzer Files, and then they started calling our producers, and they're like, you guys are really, really respectful. You're really good at what you do. We'd love to have you come back in. So that opened up a lot of doors for us that we didn't get that first. The other problem is, in the time Hans Holzer was investigating in the 60s and 70s, a lot of the houses in Connecticut and New York and Massachusetts and Maine were little family homes, you know, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 homes that now are owned by billionaire tech owners and doctors and lawyers, and they don't want a paranormal show coming in and filming in their home. So a lot of the places were unavailable, or they're apartment complexes, and you can't do an investigation in an active apartment complex. Bless you. Not the way we did it. But like Dr. Holzer could go in and do it because he brought a medium who could get into a trance and communicate, so he wasn't impacted by the people on the other floors. We couldn't do that. So, yes, who else had a question? Yes.
So, the reason why you can't revisit Holzer Files, is it because the network owns the files, or do they belong to Alexandra?
So the question is, the reason we can't access the files now because the network owns them, or Alexandra? My understanding is it went back to the Holzer family after the show was canceled. Now, we've heard competing stories, so it's kind of weird. You know, we were told the show just didn't have enough viewers to keep us for another season. Well, it didn't. We saw the metrics, and we were close, but not quite there. And I think that we missed an opportunity, because if they would, you know, we were on a network with Ghost Hunters, Ghost Nation, Ghost Brothers, you know, Ghost Adventures, Kindred Spirits,
Destination
Project Fear,
yeah.
Shows that you see the title and you know what you're up against. And our show was Holzer Files. And they never showed a cool picture of a ghost around us. It was just the three of us standing around trying to look tough in front of an old house. So it could have just been a really bad 70s detective show, right? Where the incredibly handsomely detective is flanked by a medium and a psychopath. So you didn't know. You didn't know. So unfortunately, we just didn't have enough viewers to garner another season. We asked them for season 3, give us like 6 episodes, but call it Holzer's Ghost Files, and give us a chance to find that audience. And I think they kicked themselves because in reruns and on the streaming service, we've always done really well. It was just too little too late. And the other thing that didn't help us was season 2, they cut in half. So they did like 6 episodes on Travel Channel and then put us in a hiatus for 3 months, kicked up the Discovery Plus app, and only released those last episodes on Discovery Plus. So a lot of people were digging their heels in the sand going, I'm not paying for that. We love your show, but we're not going to pay. So our audience dropped, and they're like, you guys can't keep an audience. We're like, yeah, we can't keep the audience. How about we've just been pushed over to Discovery Plus, and people aren't signing up in the way you hope they would, you know? I mean, that was the killer for us. But then the opposite side is, and I've not been there to hear it, but we've had people come to us that have attended live events with Alexandra where she claims she pulled the plug on the show, which is news to us. But I don't know if that's her trying to just save face that, oh, it didn't get canceled because there wasn't interest, which we respect, but we would like to know what's going on, because I don't know what the real story is in that fact. I'd hope she wouldn't have killed the show, because it was a good show.
And it was only elevating her father and the family name too, which is what our goal was in the very beginning. It wasn't about us, the team. It was about Holzer and his work that he has done for years and years and years. And we tried to stay as true as possible to that the entire time.
And it was also about the spirits, which I really liked. It was less so much about the family or the business owners as it was about us connecting with the spirits and trying to help them. Yep. So we really liked that element of it. She was on one episode with us in second season at America's Stonehenge.
Yeah.
And I think she was a little disappointed that she wasn't a more active part of the show. But she has kids and little kids, and we were on set 5 days a week. And we would film 2 weeks in a row and then have a week off, and then film 2 weeks in a row and then have a week off, and then film 3 weeks in a row and then have a week off, and then film 2 weeks in a row.
We'd be gone away from
She
home.
couldn't be away that long. And she was getting, in my opinion, some bad advice from a couple other well-known figures who'd had shows for a long time and only need to show up the day of the ghost hunt. So they're like, you can just show up. They should just let you show up. And that's not the way it worked. We needed to be there for all of the different elements.
Well, the type of work too, of course you're filming a show, but we were really doing the research. We were really interviewing the people that we needed to interview. We were actually working hard to try to make sure we got it right.
Yeah,
you know?
And the commitment from her, I just think couldn't have been there as much. And we love and adore Alexandra, and want what's best for her. Like I said, I hope she isn't what killed the show, but we don't. She hasn't talked to us really since the show ended. So, yeah, so it is what it is. But hopefully we'd all love to work together again, Shane, Cindy, and I. And even Gabe reaches out and he's like, you guys doing anything?
Yeah.
You got a dirty basement full of files you want me to sort?
Yeah.
And what's funny is Gabe Roth doesn't need that job. Gabe Roth is Eli Roth's brother. Gabe is a director and a producer and a writer himself. He just loved it. Yeah, he loved digging into the files and seeing this cool stuff. So it was kind of neat. Yes?
I was going to say, were there a bunch of files that you said you had out there? You could pick which ones, or did they already?
No, they had to pick because while we were filming season 1, they had to be reaching out trying to put it in season 2. And there was constant turnaround because if something happened, like a location would fall out or burn to the ground or the owners got skittish, we had to have something ready. But because they had to contact so many people and then trying to go back and find people that he did an investigation with 30, 40, 50 years ago, it wasn't always easy. So they would just give us these are the ones that we were able to get, here's the next one and this is when they were available. So we went when they were available. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, the ghost of
Devil's Perch?
Devil's Perch.
Uh-huh.
Do you feel that that's maybe finished, or do you think that could be some more stuff?
Oh, I think we could have done about 5 seasons of the Ghost of Devil's Perch easily.
This episode, I was like kind of...
Yeah, Cindy and I were really hoping to continue on with that too, but...
You know what, maybe what's going on?
Yeah, unfortunately, what happened was COVID hit. That crippled TV for a while. Fun fact, the Holzer Files Season 2 was the first TV show back out in the industry, filming. We were the canaries in the coal mine. If we survived, then they would open up and let the important people go out and film shows. So when we survived it and made it, we had to go through a lot of protocol. We were taking tests every day to make sure we didn't have it, and we had to wear masks and then take them off to do the interview and then put the mask back on while we were standing there.
Didn't have contact with any of the crew, so it's basically they would go in, we would go into a room, they'd go out. Like it was very tedious and
so that kind of crippled the business, and then that Discovery Plus app changed things around for a little bit, and then Discover Networks bought Warner Brothers HBO. And I just want to put this out there clear and free. There's a lot of hate for Zach and Ghost Adventures because they came in and canceled all our shows because we were infringing on their popularity. That's complete and utter bullshit. Zach Baggins didn't shut down anybody's show. I mean, whatever you hear is bullshit. I'm there. We were there. We were part of the machine. What happened was they bought HBO Warner Brothers and they bought $50 billion in debt. And this is not me telling stories I shouldn't be telling across the table. These are all parts of the articles. If you go read about the Discovery, HBO, Warner Brothers merger, they bought $50 billion in debt. And then they had to start carving things out. And Travel Channel just wasn't as important. So what they did was they saved their golden goose, Ghost Adventures, and Zach, because he brings all the boys to the yard, right? He brings everybody in to watch. So they moved him over to Discover channel. And then the rest of us were just kind of let go in this kind of limbo. And that's where it stands. But it was never, and I just hate watching the guy, don't like him for whatever reason you don't like him, but don't put shit on his shoulders he didn't do. I'm a firm believer. Those guys are like my little brothers too. I got a chance to work with them many times. I was on like 12 episodes with them. They're good guys. They're business guys. They're out there doing what they do. And for as much hate as people throw their way, you realize that if Ghost Adventures goes away, probably the paranormal TV programming goes away for about a decade. Because the way TV thinks is, if the big dog can't pull in viewers anymore, nobody has an interest. Without being here in the field and seeing these conventions and seeing the interest, they don't have a real way to access it because they're in their buildings doing their business work. And that's not me slamming them, but that's just not what they do. And they don't realize the love and passion. And maybe the reason Ghost Adventures would eventually start to go downhill is just because it's been out there for 25 seasons and people want something new. And instead of giving something new, they just figure if you stopped watching that show, people just don't have an interest in the paranormal. So we're hoping that now that you're starting to see shows like Ghosts appear and the Supernatural spin-off and other shows, like the Sabrina series kicking off and paranormal stuff kind of coming back into vogue, we're hoping that they're going to start finding homes for all of us again to come back out and start doing these shows.
So streambeacontv.com.
Yeah.
I was going to say, isn't that the reason that y'all created Beacon?
Yeah.
Because
we were tired of the networks sometimes.
I'm not. I love the networks and I believe in you.
The network screwing around and not giving you guys what you want, so we decided to do it ourselves.
And by we, he means him, not me. I love you, networks.
You don't believe in me?
No, I believe in you. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
Have you guys ever had a disagreement?
No, never.
Yeah.
Well,
no.
When?
Yeah. No.
I disagree.
Maybe.
Well,
Yeah.
right now. Yeah.
I think we had one disagreement. We were driving in the car. I was driving, and it was. I go, dude.
Turn left or right?
I said, I'm sorry, I'm a little gassy. And he goes, dude, don't worry about it. I got a steel stomach. And I'm like, oh. And I leaned over and I locked his window and I turned the heater on. And then we had disagreed about how strong his stomach was.
No, listen to this right now, okay? When he talks about I have a strong stomach, I do, right? Like smells don't bother me. Like even that surströmming challenge with the fish and stuff, I could probably do that, smell that. This was the most ungodly, deadliest thing I have ever encountered in my life. I'd rather sign up for the military, get in a gas chamber with the mustard gas.
I don't think that's true at all.
That would have been a better situation than what I smelled that
I honestly think it was the funniest thing I've ever seen because he goes, no, my stomach's fine. I can handle all of it. And 30 seconds later, he literally starts going, are you sick? What the hell's wrong with you? Open my window.
I never gagged from smells. That was the first time ever.
So that's our only disagreement, really. I think he doesn't have as strong a stomach as he thinks. So yeah,
something
that's it.
died in there. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't. No, I don't think the two of us never really disagreed.
Cindy told us to shut up a lot of times.
Yeah,
because
and I shushed her a lot of times, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I had if you watch the show, you'll see me shh. I had an earbud in because our director would be in my ear, and somebody had to be because everybody else is offset. It's just our camera guy, our sound guy, and the three of us, and everybody else is offset. But if they're like, Dave, nothing's happening, take them upstairs. Let's investigate upstairs. But when they aren't speaking, the whole time I'm hearing in my ear. So I've only got one ear that can actually hear what's going on. Cindy starts picking up on something. She's talking. All of a sudden I start hearing footsteps, and Shane and I get this look, and I'm like, shh, because are you hearing this, right?
Trying to tone in,
and not even realize I'm telling the medium to shut up, right? And that wasn't my sense. It was like, oh crap, do you hear that? We can all hear that. And so there were some disagreements there, and I always felt bad about it. But we all got along. You know, it was we had one coming to Jesus meeting with the the producers, and then when they had to,
Y'all did.
yeah,
I was good.
Shane
I
was
a
clean. They
great
liked
person.
him. Cindy and I, they were like, we gotta have a talk, guys. Cindy's very upset with you, and I'm like, why? And then when she explained what her situation was, I totally understood, and it was on the producers. We would have to shoot things out of sequence sometimes. So I would talk today to the historian, so I'd know the whole history. But the walkthrough, I'm not supposed to know that now, but we had no other chance to interview the historian after the walkthrough. So I had to do this. So she'd go in, she knew I had an interview that day with a historian, and she'd start picking up on stuff and want me to connect for her, and I couldn't respond because when you watch the episode, it would be out of order, so I wouldn't know the information. I'd just have to sit there and, okay, that's interesting. So that's when we started going, just send Shane in to do the walkthroughs and let me take the notes out by the computer so I'm not frustrating her, because she wants to know. When you're a medium, you want to know, am I connecting? That's a tough job. And to feel that pressure on her shoulders was horrible. And I felt horrible about it, but she didn't realize. And then when they realized, no, we're the one telling them, don't say a thing. Don't say a thing. So I just have to stand there and look blankly at her as she's relaying this great information to me. And it was hard sometimes because she'd hit stuff and I'd be like, yeah. And there were a few times because I'd hear the director stop nodding because she'd be like, I'm picking up on this, and I'd be like,
Well, and that all goes back to we were trying to be, we wanted it as authentic as possible. We were really, truly in there. She was going in. We wanted to show her true talents and true gift. And yeah, so we'd have those moments where we couldn't say a word even when we wanted to.
Yeah, so and that wasn't even a disagreement. That was just a misunderstanding. And then once that got settled, we were all good. And then they put an earbud in Cindy's ear and made her try to be a part of it. And she's like, oh, fuck this. I can't. How are you doing that? Oh, because now she's hearing ghosts and directors. And we had some creepy times, too. There were times I would hear in the earbud, I'd turn my head and I'd be like, are you guys hearing that? And the sound guy could hear it, but the feed that was coming to my ear was not being recorded. And we'd be doing something, and all of a sudden I'd start hearing, or I could hear talking in my ear. And I'm like, is somebody on set talking? I'm hearing it through the microphone. Turn the microphone off. And they're like, our microphone is off. And I'm like, well, there's something talking in my ear. No, there's not. And I look over at the sound guy, and he's like, so that was pretty cool. We'll take one more quick question and we'll break out of here and get into cooler areas. Yes?
Have you ever had any experiences where you've been too dangerous or too demonic and you decided not to?
Not me. No, she wants to know if we've ever been in a situation that it was too dangerous, too demonic. There were times on the show when they would drop a bomb on us, like, oh, this medium came in and screamed and ran out of here, and she's now in the cuckoo ward, you know? And Shane and I would be like, well, we can't bring Cindy in here. And we would have talks with the producers. We're like, we don't, you know, because Cindy doesn't want to know anything.
Talks, yeah.
She doesn't want to know anything going in. And I would be like, Sin, I'm like, you just... And she's like, don't tell me anything. I'm like, right, but I also, as the lead investigator, I'm worried. And she's like, I don't want to hear it. And then there were times I just didn't give a shit, and I'd be like, well, I just want you to know this is like broken other mediums. That's all I'm going to say. There's something here that's been that. So I don't know if it's even safe for you to go in. And I think they kept that in one episode. We had like 2 or 3 where something weird had happened or the mediums might be more at risk. And we made it known to Cindy. But she was very stoic. She'd be like, let's just get this done. Let's do it.
That's what was really commendable for her. And she was a badass. She would go into these places. She'd be like, well, we got a job to do. I'm going to go and do it. No other way to say it. She was a badass doing that stuff.
But what's great is she was the mom on set too. Right? So she's like, we got to do this job. Let's just do this job. And when Shane had the fall and destroyed his elbow, Cindy's like, nobody go in that basement. There's something dark and evil down there, and it's and I go, no, that's bullshit. I'm not letting this thing take control. And she goes, I'm telling you, don't go down in the basement. And I said, I'm telling you, we got a job to do. And I went storming down in the basement.
That was a disagreement.
And I went storming downstairs.
She was pissed.
But she was pissed because as the mom, she wants to take care of us.
Yeah.
She knows what's coming. She knows. So, but I went down there. She didn't realize what I was going to do. And I just went down, and if you're watching that episode, I'm like, no, this is not acceptable. You don't beat up Shane. That's my job. Right? So I was pissed that he got hurt, and I didn't know there was a scratch
Shut
as
up
big.
right now.
At that point, I was really worried.
I got hurt. Okay.
But yeah, she did not want me to go down there. But afterwards, she realized, you're right. We gotta confront it. We can't, something hurt Shane or scared Shane enough. I got to go down there and confront it because a family's got to go back in here and live in this place. So I want to make sure that they're safe when they come back in. And that was our deal. So we, Cindy understood why we did it, but in the moment, sometimes she's trying to protect us, we're trying to protect her, we're trying to put Shane in dangerous positions. It just happens. So I hope you guys enjoyed the 23 episodes that we did of Holzer Files. If you haven't seen them yet, they're on Tubi, which is a free TV service. It just has commercials. You can also watch on Max streaming service, and you can watch it on Discovery Plus. And we're very proud of the work we got to do. We love our sister Cindy. We're going to be in England together as a team, and we're going to be in, is it Glen Beulah, Wisconsin?
Yeah.
We're going to be at the Great Lakes.
September. It's all September.
Yeah, Great Lakes Paracon in Wisconsin. All three of us are going to be together having fun, and one trip over in the UK in September as well. So if you want to get over to UK and see some cool stuff and investigate with us and be a part of the symposium over there, come do it. Otherwise, we're going to be in Glen Beulah, Wisconsin, which might be a little bit more economical for you to hit and do, but England's amazing if you get a chance to come out there. And we want to thank you guys because we know that without the true diehard fans that watch the shows and show passion and love for them, we wouldn't be where we are. So thank you very much
we
for
love
you.
y'all.
Yeah, we'll give you a round of applause. Thank you. And now, just to give you a quick update, so I host a paranormal podcast that you can watch on YouTube Monday and Wednesday nights, and they live there. So after they're live, you can go watch them anytime. They're called The Paranormal 60 with Dave Schrader. Monday nights are a lot of fun. They're guests. We talk about whatever aspect of the paranormal we're discussing that night. Wednesday, we even have a little bit more fun. I have my Paranormal 60 news crew. We all break out a couple of drinks. We report on the news, and when somebody screws up a line, we all have to take a drink. So sometimes it's a drunken mess, but we have fun. And I'm now also hosting a Sunday night radio show, which you can stream. It's called The Paranormal 360, a well-rounded view of the paranormal. And you can get the Odyssey app, AUDACY. It's a free app. Or just ask your smart device to play WCCO radio. And it should fire it off. Tell it to set your alarm to play it if you're here on the East Coast, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock every Sunday night. Have your smart device turn on and you can listen. And I do 2 hours, 1 hour with a different guest, and we talk about different elements of the paranormal. And I've got a brand new book, and I've only got about 20 copies left at my table. It's called Theater of the Mind, Tales from the Darkness, and it's a collection of 15 real paranormal encounters. 2 of them are mine. One is a haunted hospital, one is a haunted doll story. And then there's Black-Eyed Kids, The Bloody Bones Man. There are ghosts, UFOs, time slip phenomena, phone calls from the dead. It's a really fun book and spooky. I hope you guys will pick it up and enjoy it. You can come over to the table and get a signed copy. On my website, they're $30 signed. At the event, they're only $20 signed. So if you want to stop by, and I've also got our protection bracelets that are over there as well. So that's my story. And then hopefully by the end of 2025, I will have had a chance to work again with Shane on his new network and streaming service. So subscribe to that right away. Make sure that you're a part of it so you can keep the good low price point and get all the great content that's coming your way. And what are you doing, Shane?
StreamBeaconTV.com. We're going to be bringing you guys shows that you want to watch, and if we see the viewership there, we're not going to take the shows away. So we're very excited about it. Network quality programming, but it's the shows that you want to see. So hope that you'll join us there. StreamBeaconTV.com.
Yep, and stop by our tables. Feel free. We're giving away free hugs, and right now it's nice and sweaty free hugs. Free hugs and free selfies.
For this old man, my voice is going out.
Look how sweaty you are. That's so gross.
Wow.
Let's all say it together. Poor Shane.
That did feel good. That did feel good, though.
I know, right? It does. It feels good. Oh, yeah. Now, who's the old man, huh? Oh, yeah.
You're a
So thank you guys for coming and spending some time with us. Enjoy the rest of the conference, and hopefully
Thank
we'll see you
y'all.
back here again next year.
That would be so Slap me with a wet towel.
You're welcome.
That was cool.
Aw. Hey, Sweet Pea, how you doing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What? Oh, our microphones? You got to catch us, brother.